Breaking news, or should I say breaking egos, because ladies and gentlemen, today we're diving headfirst into the absolute circus of rappers who thought they were untouchable, until the judge hit them with life, and not the fun, Netflix series kind of life, I mean actual life sentences. Now let me ask you this. How does a millionaire, dripped out in designer, go from flexing Bentleys on Instagram to begging for commissary noodles in less than a year? How does a so-called street legend crumble the second the jury says guilty? Stick around, because what you're about to see isn't just courtroom drama. It's an opera of betrayal, crocodile tears, and rappers realizing surprise that the system they thought they could outsmart is handing out football numbers. Like Oprah hands out cars. And trust me, the reactions, priceless, from fake tough guy meltdowns to spiritual awakenings that sound like rejected Drake lyrics. We're exposing it all. So buckle up, because this isn't your regular news report. This is the 1 hour greatest hits compilation of rappers versus reality, and spoiler alert, reality always wins. Alright, let's start with the first contestant in our courtroom Hunger Games. The rappers who thought that the only bars they'd ever spit were on a mic, not behind steel doors. Take Rico Blaze, and no, that's not a Marvel villain, though the charges read like a supervillain origin story. Picture this, a guy who once bragged on Live about having so much cash he could swim in it, is now fighting over ramen seasoning packets in county lockup. How did we get here? Simple, Rico believed his own Instagram live. He thought flashing stacks, bragging about gang hits, and literally filming himself yelling, "I'm untouchable," wouldn't eventually catch the eye of the feds. Spoiler alert, it did, according to our anonymous sources, aka a janitor who once cleaned the courthouse bathrooms. Rico's case file was so thick, the prosecutor had to roll it in on a dolly. Imagine a grocery cart, but instead of food, it's filled with screenshots, DMIS, and TikTok clips of him basically snitching on himself. Genius, right? And the reaction in court, pure cinema. The judge drops the sentence, life without parole. Rico's jaw hits the floor so hard, people swore they felt an earthquake. His crew in the back row gasped like they were watching a Marvel post-credit scene. And Rico himself, he actually tried the classic "I found God's" speech, quoting Bible verses he clearly Googled the night before. The only problem? He accidentally quoted from the lyrics of a Kanye song instead. The courtroom laughed. The judge was not impressed. But wait, it gets juicier. See, Rico wasn't just a rapper. He was also allegedly running a luxury sneaker scam. Yup, Mr. Gucci head to toe was selling fake Yeezys out of the trunk of his Bentley. Prosecutors claim he scammed over $3 million from fans, and when the receipts came out, oh, it was brutal. People in the courtroom started whispering, bro was flexing in knockoffs. Social media went insane. One tweet went viral. Imagine doing life in prison and realizing your whole drip was fake. Double homicide, another IG meme showed. Rico photoshopped in a Payless shoe ad. The internet is merciless. Now, you'd think Rico's downfall would be a warning for others, right? Wrong. Because right down the hall, another rapper was learning the hard way that pretending to be Tony Montana doesn't end well either. Enter Lil Vicious. No, seriously, that's his rap name, Lil Vicious. A guy who once said in an interview, "Prison ain't real if you're real enough." Guess what? The judge just made prison real enough for him, permanently. But his courtroom meltdown? Oh man, you're not ready for this one. So back to Lil Vicious, the man, the myth, the meltdown. Picture this, the judge barely finishes saying life without the possibility of parole. And Lil Vicious jumps up like he's about to headline Coachella. He's pacing, throwing his arms in the air, yelling, "This whole thing is cap. You can't sentence a legend." Bro, the only cap in that courtroom was the one on the bailiff's head. One so-called reporter, or maybe just some random guy left reading from the back row, swears Lil Vicious screamed so loud that even the court stenographer had to pause like, do I type angry incoherent mumbling, or just write rapper noises? But here's the best. After his rant, Lil Vicious actually tried to perform one of his unreleased songs as his final statement. Like bro thought this was the voice. Security had to drag him out mid-verse, and the internet had a field day. One viral TikTok stitched his courtroom freakout with Kanye's "I miss the old Kanye," except the caption read, "I miss the free Lil Vicious." Another clip auto-tuned his screaming into a drill beat, and it actually slapped harder than his real music. The irony writes itself. But while Lil Vicious was auditioning for World's Dumbest Criminals, another scandal was boiling over. Enter Stax Malone. And trust me, the only thing he ever stacked was bad decisions. Stax was already facing life for racketeering and armed robbery, but he decided to level up his stupidity by trying to bribe the judge. Yup, court documents, allegedly leaked by his ex, who also happens to run a gossip fan page, show Stax sent the judge a gift basket, but not flowers, not chocolates. No, he sent $50, zero in cash, 3 Rolex watches, and a handwritten note that literally said, "Let's work something out, big bro." Naturally, the judge did not work something out. Instead, prosecutors dragged the bribe attempt into evidence and turned it into a comedy special. By the time sentencing rolled around, Stax wasn't just hit with life, they threw on an extra 20 years like it was a free side of fries, and Stax's reaction, pure slapstick comedy. He fainted, full-on fainted like a fainting goat meme. The bailiff had to catch him before he face-planted into the defense table within hours. Twitter was flooded with captions like, "Not Stax getting stacked by gravity." Another edit put him falling into a Looney Tunes hole with cartoon sound effects. Savage. But here's the kicker. As wild as Rico Blaze, Lil Vicious, and Stax Malone were, none of them prepared the world for what came next, because the next rapper didn't just get buried by evidence. He got betrayed by the very crew he thought would ride for him forever. And now, the betrayal saga. Enter Young Pharaoh, a rapper who built his entire image around loyalty, family, and never snitching. His most famous lyric, "My crew's my kingdom, my throne's unshakable." Cute, right? Fast forward to his trial, and guess who's testifying against him? Yup, his so-called kingdom, according to leaked testimony, which may or may not have been leaked by a courthouse janitor, who mysteriously now has 20K followers on Twitter. Young Pharaoh's own hype man turned state's witness. The same guy who used to scream loyalty over royalty into the mic every concert. Yeah, he spent 3 straight hours on the stand, pointing fingers, naming names, and basically narrating Pharaoh's entire criminal career like it was a Netflix documentary. The courtroom reaction? Pure chaos, gasps, whispers. One juror literally spit out their coffee, and Pharaoh? He just sat there frozen, staring at his former best friend like he just watched the season finale of Breaking Bad. Word on the street is, when the verdict was announced, life in prison, no parole. Pharaoh muttered under his breath, "This season of my life got canceled too early." And if you thought the betrayal ended there, think again, because prosecutors didn't just use his crew's testimonies. Oh no, they rolled out leaked voice notes, actual audio clips of Pharaoh bragging about crimes like he was recording a podcast. One file literally started with, "Yo, don't record this. Spoiler, it was recorded." The internet shredded him alive. One meme showed him side by side with a cartoon villain. Caption, "Snitched on by your own hype man. Couldn't be me." Another trending tweet said, "Pharaoh built pyramids of lies, and his crew bulldozed it in court." Brutal. But the real kicker came during sentencing. Pharaoh stood up, adjusted his designer suit. Fake, according to Twitter detectives who zoomed in on the stitching and gave this grand speech about how history would remember him as a martyr. Problem was, halfway through, the mic cut out. The judge literally told him, "Sir, this isn't a concert. Sit down." And that was the end of Pharaoh's empire. So, let's recap. Rico Blaze went down for self-snitching and fake sneakers. Lil Vicious tried to turn sentencing into a mixtape release party. Stax Malone fainted after his bribe backfired. A young Pharaoh, he got betrayed by his own squad. For rappers, for life sentences, for train wrecks of epic proportions. But here's the scary question no one's asking. If these rappers are crumbling this hard, when the cameras are on, what about the ones we haven't seen yet? What about the scandals still bubbling under the surface, waiting to explode? Because trust me, this rabbit hole goes deeper than anyone realizes. And the next courtroom disaster? It might just make these cases look like amateur art. So what do you think? Are these rappers tragic cautionary tales? Or just clowns who thought life was a music video until reality smacked them with life sentences? Should we call this justice served or karma with extra seasoning? I want to hear your hot takes. Drop a comment below, because trust me, the internet's opinion hits harder than any judge's gavel. And hey, if you want more courtroom chaos, scandals, and meltdowns that the mainstream won't dare cover, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell, because the next case it's gonna be even crazier.